Meta denies Iran's claims for what it's worth. I don't believe Meta at all. I 100% believe Iran on this, for the record. If you think that Meta and Mark Zuckerberg is not directly coordinating with the Israeli government, then you have not been paying attention to the censorship regime that is happening for Meta in the West. Okay, the Islamic Republic of Iran versus the ethno-state of Israel. One of the countries is a religious fundamentalist, psychotic, bloodthirsty nation state that is incredibly violent to people under its banner. And the other country is Iran, you know. One of them is a religious fundamentalist, ethno-supremacist nation state that is doing untold amounts of violence to every other neighboring nation and also people under its supposed protective banner. The other country is Iran. So that's what's going on. Of course, America is predictably on the wrong side of this one as well. Who could have guessed? But there is tit for tat, back and forth, missile strikes and also direct campaigns taking place. After the United States of America yesterday came out with Donald Trump saying, we, as in the U.S. and Israel, side by side, have established complete air superiority over Iran. It's over for them. And then Iran said, nope, that's not the case. And then launched some new missiles yesterday. Unfortunately, for us and for everyone, Israel has severe restrictions. Iran does too, but Israel especially has severe restrictions on showing the strike targets, and therefore we don't really have a lot of reliable footage from impact zones. Hopefully we'll be able to get more footage as time goes on, but there was some that I showed in terms of like the missiles avoiding the air defenses that Israel has yesterday, but we have no damage assessment from impact zones at all because Israel is they're suppressing that footage coming out. Let's take a look.
Tel Aviv's skyline and the familiar sounds of an Iranian salvo, another wave of missiles in a conflict with no clear off-ramp. One that's playing out on people's doorsteps, here quite literally. This is Zema in central Israel and the smoking remains of an Iranian attack. Israel also seems far from backing down.
Yeah, the only type of footage that you see is this in real time, basically. The only time where you ever see footage, the only time where you ever see actual footage is like if someone is just like filming and they happen to film one of the bombing targets. Because like there's no more, like the media is under heavy military censorship, and Israel has decided, in an effort not to show any like successful strikes, in an effort not to cause panic among Israeli society, I guess, as well as make it seem as though Iran is actually having some impactful strikes on Israeli territory that destroys the defenses, the anti-air defense systems that Israel has. There are very, very few insights that you see. I think this is from Iran, and the same goes for Iran as well, for the record. I don't know if this is from Israel. I think this might actually be from Iran, but the same goes for Iran as well. The Iranian government is also, from what I understand, is also limiting the amount of information that is readily available on their side. And part of the reason for why Iran is doing this is because they believe that Israel is engaging in cyber warfare, and they have much better capabilities. Israel has much better capabilities in terms of like engaging in cyber warfare than Iran does. And one of the things that, as far as I understand, that Israel has done is that the Islamic Republic of Iran has confirmed that the satellite transmission of one of the state media companies, Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, was temporarily hacked. While it was hacked, a message reportedly played encouraging Iranians to pour into the streets. So Israel is trying to do that. Iran actually successfully was able to infiltrate the feed for Channel 14 for a brief moment a couple days ago. after Israel had struck the Iranian national broadcaster. But that was only for a limited time, and it was just like a little bit of a blip. And Iran is shutting the internet down. They were shutting the internet down yesterday sporadically, and I believe now they're fully shutting the internet down and also diverting the international cellular calls as well. Yeah, Iran told citizens through state media yesterday to delete Meta apps like WhatsApp because Meta is sharing the information with Israel. So let's continue.
This strike in Isfahan, and it's claiming to have killed Iran's new wartime chief of staff too, destroying the new guard days after taking out the old, and not ruling out toppling the supreme leader either.
I came here to strike.
Meta denies Iran's claims for what it's worth. I don't believe Meta at all. I 100% believe Iran on this, for the record. If you think that Meta and Mark Zuckerberg is not directly coordinating with the Israeli government, then you have not been paying attention to the censorship regime that is happening for Meta in the West. Meta and Meta properties are insanely censorious and work directly hand in glove with Israeli intelligence, even in the West. So the notion that they would not actually work alongside Israeli intelligence in Iran, a high priority target for Israel, for the Israeli state, that is also a high priority target for the American State Department, you're out of your mind. Human Rights Watch has written extensively on both Meta's censorious regime, on anti-Israel sentiment, that they do not allow like any sort of criticism or even direct incidents of violence that Israel is engaged in on Instagram and other Meta applications. Human Rights Watch and other NGOs, humanitarian groups, have also obviously in the past extensively written about how Meta played a formative role in the anti-Muslim genocide in Myanmar. That was a couple years prior. So these guys they're not good. Meta is probably one of the worst, if we're being honest. This is false information that we're concerned will be used as an excuse to block WhatsApp at a time when people need it the most. All your personal messages or calls are end-to-end encrypted, so we cannot see them. We do not track precise location. We do not keep logs. I don't believe this. Okay, I don't believe that at all. As I said, they have the worst track record. I totally understand why they would want to shut down those applications. This is one of the reasons why America wanted to stamp out TikTok. And this is before we even have the conversation about like during. If you think that America would ever allow a foreign social media application to exist during like war with said foreign application, you're out of your mind. If like we went to war with China, there would be no more TikTok.
Strengthen the residents of Herzliya and to send a clear message to the dictator in Tehran, Khamenei. If you continue to commit acts of war and launch missiles at the civilian population in Israel, your fate will be exact.
Is Hasan with or against Iran? I am in favor of anyone that can restrain the violence that Israel is subjecting everyone to. Okay? It does not matter who it is. It does not matter what shape this takes. I want Israel to stand down. That is what I want. Okay? And yes, as Israel struck first and violated Iranian sovereignty, Iran clearly has a right to defend itself. Israel had a right to defend itself on October 7 within the boundaries of what is known as Israel proper. Israel does not have a legal right or responsibility or authority to quote-unquote defend itself by bombing a strip of land known as the Gaza Strip that it is the belligerent occupier of, for the record. But yes, just as Israel has a right to defend itself as the common meta always, Iran absolutely has a right to defend itself, and they have done so in this process. They have only struck back at Israel in unprecedented. Israel has dished out, violating previous international boundaries and norms.
Exactly like that of the dictator in the neighboring country to Iran, whose end is well known.
A veiled warning he could meet the same fate as Saddam Hussein, Iraq's former leader. Tehran is talking tough too. the state broadcaster defiantly celebrating a return to the studio on the same day it was bombed. Iran claims it's also hit military and intelligence targets in Israel.
Yeah, there's truth to these claims. It's just unfortunately very difficult to discern, because even though there's a shit ton of Western media in Israel, they do not allow any sort of Western media to cover any of the impact sites out of national security concerns. So
Israel has yet to respond, and the military has banned any broadcast of those sites. But not ones like this, civilian, and it would appear unintended. A bus parking lot in Herzliya. In one strike,
or Trey Yinst, which is really messed up. My Twitter moot, Trey Yinst, Fox News' foreign correspondent, Trey Yinst,
lost his life's work. Do you fear this conflict with Iran?
We need peace. We need to work. We need to live like humans, not in war. The last 2 years, all we can do is follow the news and worry about the future of the country.
The missile hit here in the morning. It felt like a slight shift in rhythm. Most people we've been speaking to have come to expect attacks overnight, but this caught some off guard. It's perhaps part of a broader psychological strategy by Iran to make Israel look exposed. But the Iranian regime still looks firmly on the back foot. On the ground, there are no signs of capitulation or compromise, and plenty of scope for miscalculation. Cordelia Lynch, Sky News, Tel Aviv, Israel.
This morning, Iran's supreme leader released an address to his nation with a blunt warning for the United States. Deborah Patta has more on this from Tel Aviv. Deborah, good morning. Iran does not seem to be backing down.
Yeah. So I go back and forth on this basically every night. During the day when Donald Trump is tweeting and posting and he's like, I'm going to go so hard on Iran. I think I'm going to bomb Iran. I love bombing Iran. Bombing Iran is our priority. And the media is like kicking into high gear about bombing Iran. I think to myself, well, we see tankers moving in that direction. We see bombers flying around the airspace. Maybe they're going to actually strike Fordow, the nuclear facility that is like deeply embedded on the side of a mountain. The only way to strike this nuclear facility that's deep underground on the side of a mountain, of course, is with American munitions, and even then, it's not a 100% guarantee that they'll be able to effectively strike it. They have to strike it numerous times. Having said that, when tensions calm down, or rather, when I don't listen to Donald Trump constantly fucking talking about how he is desperately trying to bomb Iran, then I think to myself, maybe this is another instance of like Trump's madman style, where he is like using his attack dog in the region, Israel, in a way to get the Iranian leadership, knowing full well their capacity for restraint and their interest in diplomacy, basically getting the Iranian leadership to stand down and concede to maximalist positions that ultimately will allow them to have a remnant of a nuclear program in the country, while simultaneously getting them to back away to avoid further bloodshed of Iranian people. Because as Iran has done so thus far since October 7, it has allowed Israel to walk all over numerous red lines that it had crafted in an effort to create a structure of restraint against Israel. The only reason why they do that is because they don't want what's happening currently to happen. And while it's currently happening, it seems they are still not hitting as hard as Israel's hitting Iran. Okay? And the Iranian leadership is infinitely more restrained than the Israeli leadership has been since October 7, before October 7 as well, but definitely since October 7, regardless of what the media bias looks like. Okay? And this is part of the reason why I think, like, maybe, given how much Israel has the capacity to diminish their strike forces and their missile striking capabilities, paired up with Israel's proclivity towards bloodshed and universalizing the violence towards the civilian population, and Iran's interest of like obviously not having all of their citizens die, I suspect that when Trump is not talking about how he wants to bomb Iran, I revert back to maybe they will allow a JCPOA style denuclearization agreement to take place, but with a more diminished Iran coming to the table and saying it's great. Hey, Hasan, given your stellar track record of backing groups leaders who soon after tend to disappear, Nasrallah, Hezbollah, Houthis, their military chief eliminated last week, Hamas and Sinwar's now gone brothers, and the freshly wiped RGC top leaders in the former nuclear programs, mind telling us who you're planning to support next? Zoran, Erdogan, just trying to place our bets accordingly. Backing, wait, what? Are you saying that Israel's going to assassinate Zoran Mamdani, an American citizen who's running for mayor of New York? I don't think you'd be able to speak like this in the real world. Once again, under the guise of anonymity, I think you get to say whatever kind of freakish things you can say. Keep coping, and keep feeling as though you have some semblance of power because the religious fundamentalist, ethno-supremacist, psychotic, bloodthirsty apartheid state that you're backing is behaving in a belligerent manner with unlimited funds from the United States of America. Big Daddy America will always come back and defend Israel, right? Knowing that you go, we get to do whatever we want. One day, the Arrow defense systems will diminish. There is a finite amount of missiles. There is a finite amount of missiles that the Arrow defense systems have. These are the only defense systems that are capable of intercepting the big ballistic missiles that Iran is lobbing in the direction of Israel. And they won't just diminish and become, and this won't just be a financial issue for Israel and America. This will become an issue for America because America cannot supply the number of incredibly costly missiles as expeditiously as Israel is running out of them in defense. Okay? What will happen then? We are already seeing the THAAD interceptors deploy and then fall back on Israeli soil without actually striking anything. There is only maximum a week left of continued deployment of Israel's Iron Dome systems. The Iron Dome, of course, is for limited short-range missiles, you know, bathtub rockets and things that Hezbollah and Hamas lob over the boundary. It's not it's not for, you know, a Fatah 1 hypersonic, and it doesn't even seem like the hypersonic missiles are capable of being intercepted by the current Israeli defenses anyway. So what happens then? What happens to Israel then when they run out of their anti-air defense capabilities? How much more can American cruisers in the region intercept? Something to consider.
Sure isn't. Thank you, Gail. Good morning. Now, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei has warned that any U.S. intervention in the conflict with Israel would be met with serious consequences. He said they do not respond to threats and they will not accept any imposed peace or war. This is an unprecedented aerial war fought across hundreds of miles overnight.
Iran will run out of launch systems long before that. Again, you could be right, considering the incredible amount of firepower that Israel and all of the Western backers of Israel have. Okay, but having said that, it seems as though while Israel claims one thing about Iranian capabilities being diminished, Iran still has the capacity to launch drones, launch ballistic missiles, including hypersonics that they have not deployed until last night. And neither do you. I'm just simply analyzing the situation in front of us. The analyzing the situation day in and day out. And it seems as though Iran still has the strike capabilities that Israel claims has gone away. And on top of that, America is shuttering the embassy in Jerusalem and moving their embassy staffers away from Israel. Other Western leaders are also demanding that people leave Tel Aviv. Even China has demanded that the Chinese nationals leave Tel Aviv as well. It does feel like, regardless of what this back and forth and what the communications are, a lot of countries that are not directly involved or sometimes directly involved are gearing up for extended warfare. This could still be avoided. and I hope it will be avoided. But in order for this to be avoided, Israel and America and the Western coalition has to stand down. Do you understand? Because the escalating factor here is always Israel. And it's not just my assessment. I mean, here's the Wall Street Journal assessment. Iran has more missiles than Israel has interceptors. Now what?
For days, Israel's defenses have largely held up against Iran's missile attacks. But there's a growing concern that Israel...
Like these, by the way, you need to understand something. Iran's entire striking capability, its entire strike force is designed around making cheap munitions in literally this exact situation that is unfolding. Making them fast, making them cheap, and lobbing them over and over again in a war of attrition where you exhaust the capabilities of Israel and America. Okay? I think a lot of people assess, a lot of people make this assessment that like they have an unlimited amount of interceptors. They have an unlimited amount of missiles. These are very expensive missiles. THAAD launchers are super expensive. The missiles they're using are super expensive. The Arrow and David Sling, like the Arrows system and the David Sling system, are also super expensive. And not only are they super expensive, the United States of America does not have the capability of making enough fast enough and ship them off to Israel fast enough before the Iranian missiles stock is diminished. This is the reason why Israel has to strike missile depots in Iran over and over again with the hopes that they can actually eradicate the launchers and also the munitions depots that Iran has. This of course would be successful if Iran was not keeping a lot of their deployment facilities and their munitions underground. I think Israel has seen some success in striking munitions depots. That big fire that we saw last night, I suspect was a missile depot. But having said that, this is the entire process that Iran has designed, knowing full well what Israel and America's strike capabilities look like. So I suspect that there are probably more. BBC Verify, images show destroyed Iran jet and new airstrikes on Tehran. Like, Israel spent at least $12 million last night trying to intercept 200K hypersonic missile and still failed. And in the process of Israel's precise targeting, they are, according to at least Iranian officials, they are losing some of their fighter jets as well. Even in the cheaper side, Tamir interceptor missiles cost around $200,000. Okay, Tamir interceptors are the Iron Dome. They are for short-range missiles. Some of them are capable of also intercepting the Iranian drones, the Shahed drones. Iran actually produces these drones not only for themselves, but also even for Russia. Russia's been using them in Ukraine. The Shahed drones cost a fraction of the interceptor missiles that aren't even reliably taking those drones down. All of this, of course, is paid for by us. Our taxpayer dollars go to this, for the record. I just need you to understand something here. Israel gets to have social safety nets for its citizens, while also simultaneously we foot the bill for their defense. And one might say, well, Hasan, that's just defense. That's defending civilians. Israel gets to behave in this belligerent and violent manner in the region, knowing full well that we will always foot the bill. So the attitude here, or the assessment here is does Iran have a striking capability that can even overcome, in a war of attrition, even overcome America's defense capabilities within Israel? No F-35 was shot down. That crash shot would be plastered by Iran all over as humiliation for the West. We got instant images of the Israeli drone that got down, but no 3 to 6 F-35s. Come on, man. I agree with you. I don't think I think you're right, because we did see a Israeli drone get dropped inside of the Iranian boundaries, and immediately it was all over. There's also obviously the reverse engineering part of this as well. But I don't know. I don't know if the F-35s are dropping anywhere near Iran or what it is. So it could be total misinformation. Iran also did say that not only did they drop F-35s, but they also caught a Air Force pilot. They did release images of that giant F-35 they shot down. No, that wasn't the Iranian government that released that image. That was just fake AI shit running around. No, the picture of the F-35 that you've seen online is fake, chatters. There is no real image of an F-35 that has been done whatsoever. At most, you could say that was a F-35,000, okay? The
United States, which is...
God damn it, what is happening today, man? Dude, my stupid-ass internet has been effing so frequently, it's pissing me off, dude. Jesus Christ. It's a small F for the time being, but it is so goddamn annoying. What is happening might be called into question as well, considering that Iran has claimed that they're going to start using newer, faster hypersonic missile systems as well, which are incredibly difficult to intercept. And as a matter of fact, as far as we saw last night, there was at least one that completely avoided all of the Arrow systems and also the THAAD launchers as well, and was able to strike inside of, I think, Tel Aviv. But again, no recording beyond that one video that we saw of all of the anti-air missiles like just imploding in space without actually hitting anything, and then one simple hypersonic directly striking a target. That's the only video that we've seen from afar. There's no footage of the impact site at all. Generally speaking, one of the things that they could be doing, and again, I don't know if this is the case, this is pure speculation, wee-woo, speculation alert. One of the things that they could potentially be doing is that they are expending all of the anti-aircraft systems that Israel has, and there has been incredibly limited, none actually, no attacks from Hezbollah whatsoever. And and very limited attacks coming from like IRGC forces in Iraq as well. They could potentially be potentially looking to expend all of Israel's anti-air defense systems, and then launch a larger strike alongside the Houthis, alongside whatever dormant remaining IRGC strikers or strike capabilities exist in Iraq, and also potentially Hezbollah as well. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's the plan at all. They could simply just be getting shellacked by Israel. A good defense is a very aggressive offense from the Israeli perspective, and they might have actually successfully, like I said, destroyed a decent number of their missile stocks and their launchers as well. Just like they hit Hezbollah pretty hard, and maybe Hezbollah has no capabilities of hitting at all. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Been acutely disrupted by the fall of Syria? No, they did. They absolutely did. But I'd be shocked if Hezbollah itself has no way of restocking, or no way of like internally, or no way of deploying their additional stockpiles inside of Lebanon. I know for a fact that Israel has been keeping a close watch on any kind of flights going into Lebanon as well. Israel is directly blocking flights that are going into Lebanon. Remember, they have air superiority over Lebanon, over Lebanese airspace, and they are keeping a close watch on all of the cargo that goes into Lebanon. While all this is happening, I suspect that they have a fairly decent stockpile that is also underground. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of stockpile they have, or what kind of strike capabilities they have as well. But they have not done anything. Hezbollah hasn't done anything since Iran struck back at Israel after Israel's first strike. And that could literally be because they the decapitation strikes from Israel was fairly effective. What is this? The Lebanese president has asked Hezbollah not to do anything. He's American-backed, supposedly. Lebanon not on travel ban list. Wait, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, the Lebanese president asking Hezbollah not to do anything doesn't mean anything. If Hezbollah wanted to do something, they would do something. That's not. What are you talking about? Lebanon has one of the weirdest governance structures of all time, where the president, like, Lebanon is an incredibly diverse country, and the president has to be from one sect as opposed to the parliament. Like, it is, yeah. The president of Lebanon is Maronite Christian. They have a very weird. They have a very weird parliamentary structure. They have a very weird, they have a very weird constitution that was designed specifically to beef up sectarian fighting in the country in times of need, and have like some kind of subservient ethnic group that would most likely historically be aligned with France, and this is identical to every other country, including Syria, of course, but it's a colonial remnant. It doesn't really matter. Like, the Lebanese president does not have any motion on the actions of Hezbollah. Yeah, the Speaker of the House equivalent had to be Shia. It's the most religiously diverse country in the Middle East. The actual factors that stop Hezbollah from reacting could be, one, their diminished capabilities, the success of the Israeli decapitation strikes on Hezbollah, and more importantly, Hezbollah's civil governance needs over the Shia population in Lebanon, and their lack of interest in putting their civilians in the line of fire. If they feel as though Israel is defenseless or Israel is too busy elsewhere, they could join in, potentially, if they have the striking capabilities that remain. But I do not know. That's why I'm saying this is pure speculation.
Tonight, a barrage of Israeli missiles streaked across the skies of Tehran, taken out by Iran's air defense system. Iran
Was a tweet about a big surprise tonight real? That was yesterday. And what they were actually signaling was the hypersonics that they deployed and successfully struck inside of Israel.
Retaliated with another wave of its own missiles. Sirens blared here in Israel, warning they were on the way. Then intercepted in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and the occupied West Bank. With their cities under fire, Iranians are counting a steadily escalating human cost. And while Israel is able to inflict far greater pain on Iran, it has not been immune to it. 90-year-old Bella Ashkenazi and her husband Chaim were asleep in this apartment block near Tel Aviv when an Iranian missile on Sunday. Bella did not survive the strike and was buried in an emotional farewell.
She's amazing.
Ashkenazi's granddaughter Shani Bwana told us her grandparents were both too frail to keep going to their bomb shelters.
I wish I could turn back time and to take her to the safe room.
You're very stoic about this new war that Israel is engaged in, but it's also taken your grandmother.
I'm gonna miss her a lot, but I still think that.
Yes, it's not new that they are talking about civilian casualties on the Israeli side. Of course, they very rarely ever factor in civilian casualties and the significantly larger number of civilian casualties on the Iranian side or on the Palestinian side. Of course, untold amounts of death and destruction, unprecedented levels of death and destruction of children specifically. But yes, civilians are always collateral damage in these kinds of incidents. The difference, however, is that Israel still has a lot of its defensive capabilities and its shelters to protect its citizens from any sort of retaliatory strike, and therefore Israeli society can still maintain a healthy attitude, an unhealthy attitude, but a reasonable appetite for more death and destruction elsewhere, because they rarely ever see repercussions from these sorts of actions. And when you say, yeah, she said the war is still necessary despite these deaths, of course she did. Part of that is because of the defense capabilities that Israel and the entire Western world has in terms of making sure that the Israeli population never suffers any repercussions whatsoever, and the repercussions that they suffer are incredibly limited. Like when Hezbollah has to make this calculation on whether they can actually strike against Israel in a tit-for-tat battle, they make this calculation with the civilian population death toll in mind. Israel does not have to make this calculation with the civilian population death toll in mind. That's precisely the reason why a lot of Shias will then get mad at Hezbollah, or a lot of Lebanese people will get mad at Hezbollah and say, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you striking at Israel? They're killing us, and you have no way of defending us. Because Hezbollah does not have anti-air defense capabilities, okay? Lebanon purposely has not had any anti-air defense capabilities. It has been that way because of America. America does not want Lebanon to have any kind of air defenses against Israel so that Israel can fly over Lebanese airspace and blow up fucking villages as they see fit, universalizing the damage, making everyone in Lebanese society feel the pain. Hasan is evil, lying sleepwalker. You think I'm a sleepwalker? That's right, I am.
We need to do what it takes to stop that threat.
Now, Israel has advised its citizens to remain close to bomb shelters, and the U.S. Embassy said it will be closed from
That's crazy.
today.
She said, my